My candidate's a no-brainer, at least. Drumroll, please. Minihasa Iwai, the totally not at all spooky dude who sold us all our guns. I've met him. His bark is worse than his bite. Not certain why you would consider him a good source of information, though. That's where our boy Akira comes in. He told me that Iwai's got underground contacts. Tats and Tontos, you get me? Don't know how he found that out, but... He worked at the store part-time. Are you kidding me?! Whatevs. Either way, a guy tapped into channels like that's a pretty good bet on knowing stuff out of the mainstream. Oh, I want to talk to him. So I'll just stop by and... Wait, what? What? How? Hi, everyone. I ducked into the ladies' room. Good to have you, Haru. Hi, Haru. Hi. Okay, can we back up a sec about the whole Haru meeting the scary airsoft man thing? Is that not okay? No, it's cool. I mean, it's just that you ain't one of his regular customers and he's kind of a huge dick to newbies, so... I should be fine. I actually wanted to see him last year, but then the thieves broke up and there wasn't any reason to go anymore. Now I finally have my chance. Haru? Why are you making that face? Well, if you think you can handle it, then that's okay, I guess. It's okay, Ryuji. Pat. Is she gonna buy weapons from him for the group, or something? The airsoft shop, Untouchable, was a little foreboding at the best of times, but only the most serious of enthusiasts braved its depths during the colder months. Sales generally dipped in winter, and the dry air meant that the guns had to be constantly monitored for static buildup. And this put Minihasa Iwai in a foul mood that rarely broke before the weather did. And no one wanted to cross Iwai. His Yakuza ties were one of the worst-kept secrets in Shibuya. He sat behind the counter now, a newspaper in his grip and a lollipop between his lips. When the bell over the door jingled, he lowered the paper just enough to lance the newcomer with his glare. It was a young girl with a bright smile and a pillowy fluff of hair, wearing a fur-trimmed coat that looked like it cost more than half the pieces in his shop. She stood expectantly in front of the counter with her hands folded at the waist. Among all these imitation instruments of death, she stood out like Iwai at a dance recital. Yeah, I knew it. It's Haru. She's gonna buy a ton of guns from him. Yeah, I know they're model guns, but... Haru Kumura is like one of those girls where she is genuinely sweet and kind, but deep within all of that kindness, she secretly has a desire to let the whole fricking world burn down. He raised the paper again. Excuse me, said the girl. Are you Mr. Iwai? Yep. If it's not too much trouble, I'd like to ask you a few questions. Nope. He turned the page. Leave. Time passed. He lowered the paper. The girl hadn't budged. You got a hearing problem, kid? I just need to speak to you for a minute or two. Sweetheart, you don't want to know the things I do to solicitors. Oh, I'm not selling anything. Although, no, this isn't the time. But I believe you would be able to assist me and my friends with something important. I would just... You know what this place is? She peered around the room, crowded with glinting gun barrels, Kevlar samples, anonymous twists of metal and wire that made up the guts of any respectable weapon. The jagged craze of metal leered down at her, like it wanted to eat her up. Her haircut bobbed in place a bit as she turned back to him, still with that smile, which Iwai was beginning to find very irritating. It looks like a very respectable shop, she said. It's a specialty shop. Know what that means? It means I get to pick and choose my clientele. And you, little girl, ain't my clientele. He smacked the paper down on the counter and leaned forward. So get out before I grab you by the scruff of that coat and throw your ass outside like a stray cat. She said nothing, though that smile did seem to stiffen. Instead, she turned to a rack beside EY's counter, and her face somehow lit up even further. EY nearly bit through his lollipop as she reached out to the display pieces. Hey, don't touch. That ain't for... My goodness! Is this a GP25 Costuer? It looks so much bigger than in the photographs. The oily black grenade launcher had a barrel so big she could have stuck one of her tiny fists inside of it. But she hoisted it up with no apparent effort. I don't have much use for the underslung models, but I've always appreciated the rustic simplicity of Soviet design. Americans have more cutting-edge tech, but they can get a little excessively tactical, if you know what I mean. The lollipop in EY's mouth drooped. Haru either has a ton of know-how on weapons like that, or in the past she's played a ton of Call of Duty. I hope she never played multiplayer. That can make anyone salty. Or should I say, salty? Though I have to admit, the mounting gear on this particular model looks far too busy. A bit like it already exploded halfway, don't you think? She gave the gun a disappointed little tut-tut sound and replaced it on the rack. You wouldn't happen to have any China Lake replicas, would you? I appreciate the drum clips of most of your stock, but they move the center of gravity too low for my liking. The pump-action design should help my accuracy, though not too much. I'm afraid I'm useless without a decent blast radius, haha. EY's face was that of a man lost at sea, with angry black clouds on the horizon. China Lake. The grenade launchers or the rocket launchers? We, ain't got any China Lakes at the moment. I could place an order, maybe, but, He cleared his throat. Nothing right now. No. That's a shame. She gently placed her knuckles on his counter and leaned forward, still smiling. We don't have to talk about that, though. We can talk about something else. In those soft brown eyes, EY saw the gleam of cities on fire. And what was I talking about before about wanting to watch the world burn? What do you have in mind? He said. Somehow he kept his voice from squeaking. I'm a close friend of Akira Kurusu. I believe he used to work here. That made EY perk up. Kurusu? Shit, why didn't you just say that in the first place? Pardon my language. How's he doing? He's not well. The smile was gone. He's not well at all. EY stared. For a moment there was only the drone of the ventilators overhead, filling the silence between them. Then he gripped the lollipop stick between his teeth and sat to attention, the brim of his hat pulled low. Tell me everything, he said. Haru did. As she talked, EY's face remained stony. Maybe his jaw set a little tighter, maybe his knuckles whitened, but that was all. When she finished, his lollipop twitched as if nodding in agreement. Paranoia syndrome, huh? He cursed again under his breath. Fuck. And what makes you know I know anything about it? I believe the answer to that would be obvious. You're a to-the-point kind of lady, huh? I can respect that. But I ain't got much that'd be of use. Please try me. He gnawed his candy as he pondered. If you're wondering if the sickness was because of something the Yakuza did, then you're wrong. Matter of fact, I heard it down the grapevine that a couple of clan members were among the first to collapse. Not anyone I knew, mind you. This'd be over Kabukicho someplace. But it damn near kicked off a war. These guys that went down, they weren't nobodies. Everyone took it for an assassination at first. What changed their minds? If you guys remember, clans went down a couple weeks later. This was all in late September, early October. None of this shit made the news, I tell you what. Pardon my language. He sighed. Well, if you keep saying to pardon your language, why don't you just stop cursing? After that, everyone just hit this kind of cautious stalemate, waiting for what would happen next. Well, looks like we're finding out. This paranoia syndrome thing is cutting people down the world over. But it's weird how it bumped off half a dozen Yakuza guys in Japan so early, considering how rare our cases have been. A bit of a statistical anomaly, you think? It does seem unusual. But we know so little about the sickness that everything surrounding it is strange. Hence why I came to you. There's not much else I can tell you. But you better keep an eye out for trouble, little miss. Because if this goes on much longer, there's going to be a whole world of it rolling in. Her brow furrowed. More than there already is? I mean, let's look at recent history. Whenever a bunch of civvies get hurt or freaked out and can't understand why, it's usually terrorists or cartels or something that take the blame. But I seriously doubt that any organizations like that are responsible for this, unless they found themselves a damn genie in a bottle. The civilians blame the crooks blame the government, and the governments blame each other. And that, he said, voice darkening, is when you really ought to worry. Because when nations get pissed, missiles start to fly. Do you really think it might come to that? Hell, I'm just an old ex-crook running a hobby shop. What do I know? But I got a real bad feeling about this paranoia syndrome business. No one knows anything about it, and it keeps getting worse by the day. He sighed again and hung his head. And now, Caruso's down with it. Man, I got a son his age. Sometimes I wonder what the fuck kind of world I'm trying to raise him into. Pardon my language. No, I understand what you mean. She gathered her coat around herself and shivered. Even before Akira fell ill, I felt apprehensive. In a way, as awful as it sounds, I'm almost grateful for what's happened. Her eyes narrowed. It gives me a target. Yeah, speaking of which, I'll see if I can put in a rush order for a China Lake. Give you a decent price, too. I would appreciate that. It may come in useful. Something I never quite understood. You kids know these things are just glorified toys, right? Why are you acting like they're real? Let's just say the power of make-believe. She smiled again. Have a good evening, Mr. EY. Don't think I ever caught your name. Miss... Okumura. Haru Okumura. I'm a small business owner, like yourself. She waved. Maybe we can talk shop again sometime. With that, she mercifully turned and left. EY sat in the empty shop, twirling his lollipop between his fingers, trying to place where he'd heard that name before. It didn't click until later that night, and when it did, he nearly choked on his dinner. And now the news. It's news time after these messages. We'll be right back. Authorities have expressed disapproval of the ever-increasing number of paranoia syndrome videos circulating online, saying that the rumors of this mysterious sickness have served only to increase public unrest. After the video of Shujin student Tsukiko Minami's collapse became a viral sensation, similar clips have spread rapidly across the internet. All of them show people in various states of distress before apparently falling unconscious. Paranoia syndrome began as an online rumor in response to several incidents worldwide, where people inexplicably passed out and remained comatose, with no other obvious physical symptoms. The World Health Organization continues to deny that the sickness exists, arguing that the number of victims has been wildly overstated by so-called copycat videos staged to mimic the intense anxiety and subsequent loss of consciousness displayed by Tsukiko Minami prior to hospitalization. I'm really sorry for the stuttering, I really am. A representative from the National Public Safety Commission also condemned the Minami video as a gross display of voyeurism offensive to Minami and her family, and called for it to be taken down wherever possible. Minami's relatives have declined comment. While medical professionals have thus far remained silent on the veracity of paranoia syndrome or the number of its victims, online communities have decried the government's response, with several petitions circulating to, among other things, conduct a census of coma patients throughout Japan. Click. Oh, look at that. A government cover-up. What a shock. Lol. Do people seriously believe this shit? If I was Tsukiko's parents, I'd be so pissed off right now. My homeroom teacher's been out sick for a while. Keep circulating the tapes. Swear to God I saw a guy go down in the subway just the other night. People were losing it. How's it looking in the States right now? Click. Response to public outcry. A spokesperson for the Minister of Health, Labour and Welfare issued a public statement regarding the paranoia syndrome rumors circulating throughout Japan. While the veracity of the rumors themselves were neither confirmed nor denied, a number of advisories were issued in regards to safety and preparedness. Paranoia syndrome is allegedly preceded by the following symptoms: excessive sweating, sudden chill, heart palpitations, and a feeling of being watched. The symptoms emerge without warning, and loss of consciousness follows minutes afterward. If you experience these symptoms, do not panic. Move away from crowded areas or thoroughfares, call for help, and await medical assistance. The minister also requested that further recording of these incidents cease, out of respect for the victims as well as... Click. Wait, they're fucking admitting it now? Holy shit! Government's so spineless they've got to play along with a stupid meme. They seriously do not want news of this getting out anymore. What the hell is going on? Keep recording everything or the terrorists win. Guys, I'm actually kind of freaking out. It's the flu or something. It's got to be. Where are the feds and thieves when you need them? Click. Tomorrow, it could be you. Click. Oh, well, that's a really fun way to end the chapter off on that note. So far, oh yeah, Mifune and EY have been informed of the current situation by Makoto, Yusuke, and Haru. So it looks like the next few chapters are going to be focused on the rest of the confidants finding out. So we'll be able to check in on Mishima, Takemi, and Yoshida sometime in those chapters. I hope. I can't wait to find out, and I hope that you guys can't wait to find out either. We'll definitely get to them soon, but until next time, I'm the Masked Ranger saying keep moving forward. Have a happy new year. Hopefully it'll be better than 2020. And remember to stay home, keep away from people, 2 meters if possible, wash your hands, and stay clean, and stay healthy and safe. Ciao!